everything and everyone secure. Profound superficiality revels in the absence of foundations, and freely entertains a world of infinite complexity in which nothing is secure. And it is that nothing that frees the imagination. I'd like now to talk a little bit about designing text, that is, unsigning them, getting away from the metaphysics of the sign. The woman who designed this book was a woman, Esanu, in Finland. This is a Nietzsche quote up here. But no, it's not a Nietzsche quote, that's something. This is one of S's emails, November 6, 1992. This is one of the designs. I wrote a series of aphorisms. This one says, understanding has become impossible because nothing stands under. Understanding has become unavoidable because everything stands between. There's a metaphysics to the very hermeneutics of surface and depth, which to understand is to grasp that which stands under. One of the lines that I think needs to be eroded is the line between the practical and the impractical, the for-profit and the not-for-profit. One of S's good friends owned and ran Marimekko at the time. Marimekko is a very, very famous Finnish design company. I don't know if any of you knows it. Back in the 60s, you all would have had a meter of Marimekko fabric hanging in your room, sort of art piece. This is an ad for Marimekko. Again, ad diction. That is the diction, but also the diction of ads. Serendipity is marvelous. One of the things that came out of that course was that this woman became intrigued by what we were doing and decided to make a fabric line out of pages of the book. A whole series of products. These are images from the advertising book. They called these their t-shirts. They did everything black and white, white and black. Right? They did fabric units from 1 meter to 15 meters. Right? So this is the page of the book that I just showed you. I don't know if they still go. I mean, they sold these for years. And then they would advertise, and this is the book, they would advertise it together. Again, and of course, again, I'm thinking, you think all these things, text comes from the word texture, which means to weave, text fabrication, text weaving, reweaving, all that kind of stuff that goes on with this. And even shirts like that, which are pages of the book. They used to sell these for about $130. I don't know if they're still making them. All right. So I'm beginning to learn some things about this from this book. But again, we wrote the book and then had it designed. So then I thought, okay, if design is going to be integral rather than supplemental, you've got to work with designers from the beginning of the book. All right. So there's another track of all this architecture stuff. I got to know a lot of these architects, and there's a design studio here in town that does most of Rem Koolhaas's and Peter Eisenman's design 2x4. Very, very smart people. Michael Rock teaches some at the school, at the architectural school now, and his wife Susan Sellers was all the dissertation in American Studies, so she understood the theory. And I said, look, here's the argument of the book. What I'd like you to do is enact the argument of the book in its design. Don't illustrate the book, but make an argument through the design. And what that then required was to take Derrida's hypertext. And one question I never asked him, maybe Bernard, you did, is how he wrote the lie. Because this was before he was using a computer. But it's a hypertext, in effect, what it is. I mean, whether he typed it, but it's not multimedia. So then the question became, how would you do a text that was sort of like law, only involved multimedia? The book was called Hiding, and this is one of the pages. I won't go into all of it at this point, but it's tangled. This is one of Nietzsche's quotes. It's one of the, Brian Swear is using this talk of materiality. I don't like that category. Right? Here's Nietzsche. If there is nothing material, there is also nothing immaterial. The concept no longer contains materiality, immaterial, all of these options. All of this design is related to argument of the book. And part of what I was trying to do was to show the way in which we use design to make argument, right? And push the book as far in the direction of a multimedia hypertext as they could instead of be a book, but that wasn't enough. Because you had to take it into electronic space. So that's when I figured out you have to supplement this with a video, which became Motel Royale in Las Vegas, Nevada. My argument is that the Vegas of the 90s differs from the Vegas of the 60s, as automobile culture differs from virtual culture. Being on the Strip now, the hotels are not way, way back. It's like being inside a VR chamber. So what we did, playing off Maison, obviously, was to create a virtual motel consisting of 52 rooms, deck of cards weeks of the year. And each room had an episode, character episode, that related to one of the issues in the book. Right? And the interface, we just did this, I just did it with 2 students, no money, it was clunky. The interface we developed was a slot machine. And you're navigating through the virtual motel playing with a slot machine. From my point of view, the hypertextual book and the electronic book were different versions of the same text. No one's ever recognized it. That's the way I conceived it at the time. But again, to see the way in which, I mean, the guy that I did this with was Jose. I said, there's a student of mine, Jose Marquez, who now does all the web work for Telemundo, largest Spanish-speaking communication. I said, Jose, you understand what I'm trying to say. What I need you to do is to help me to get it into an idiom for your generation. The way I've done all this stuff has been to become a student to my students. I'm never going to, as Joe will tell you, I'm never going to be able to do, and Dave, my wife will tell you, I'm never going to be able to do this stuff myself. But they know how to do it. I teach them what I know, they teach me what they know. And there are enormous creative possibilities for this. You ought to be able to do a doctoral dissertation in that format as far as I'm concerned. This led to a lot of other experimentations with media in the classroom. Eventually, one of the students who was in one of the courses that came after this came to me one day, this was 1995 or 6, 4 or 5, and said, why don't we webcast your classes? I said, what's that? So he showed me and explained it. I said, that sounds interesting. So we started webcasting my class in, I think it was 95, 96. Putting them out there real time and asynchronous. And the idea, and we had about 600 people sign up for this. Williams is small. Again, the college wouldn't support it. And then my idea was that we would create a cyber college where there'd be a couple of courses like this available to people all the time at Williams alums. Right? And again, the college wouldn't support it. And that was, Joe mentioned this company that I started. A Williams alum heard about this and asked to talk to me, and eventually ended up backing this. Well, I wasn't planning to form a company, I was part of it. But we formed this company called Global Education Network. And our goal was to try to do high quality online education in liberal arts, humanities, and sciences for all people of all ages all over the world at a very low price. We tried to set up a collaboration with major colleges and universities in the world. This is our logo, pretty darn good logo, which is still on it. And all the colleges and universities, all the Ivies plus 4 or 5 leading colleges during this time. All of them. It's not what they do. But we learned a lot. We learned a lot from that whole experience. And I want to try to pull these disparate lines together by reflecting on some of what I've learned from that failure. Failure cost $27 million. How much we put into it? We couldn't make it work. The reason it wouldn't work, it didn't work, was because of the resistance of faculty members in the arts and humanities. I want to talk